So here's a story that, in a world that made sense, it would be huge news. It would be gigundo news. But in reality, it was in and out of the news in roughly 7.5 seconds. There was an attempted attack on the White House, albeit a very, very sad, pathetic, no chance of this succeeding type attack, kind of like January 6th was on the Capitol. But effectively, a Nazi tried to ram into the White House, get onto the White House grounds with a U-Haul truck, and then presumably do some damage. So I'll play you a short clip here from CNN. You'll see exactly the facts of the case. And then I'll tell you the reaction from the political world. The media world, like I said, in and out of the news quickly. The political world, buckle up. You're gonna love the reaction there.
But here's where we begin. This developing overnight, maybe even after you went to sleep, a U-Haul truck ramming into security barriers near the White House. Police say the driver was threatening to kill, kidnap, or harm the president, vice president, or their family. Video shows police inspecting a Nazi flag with a swastika, a roll of duct tape, a notebook, and a black backpack that the suspect apparently had with him. Eyewitnesses say the driver crashed into the barriers, reversed, then tried to smash through them again. The Secret Service evacuated a nearby hotel as bomb technicians searched the truck to make sure there were no explosives. We are told nobody inside was hurt. So let's begin with our senior justice correspondent, Evan Perez, live at the scene. Terrifying. Evan, what do you know this morning?
Yeah, good morning, Poppy. This is the scene where this all went down. We're at Lafayette Park, just a few hundred meters from the White House. And according to the police, the driver of this truck came onto the sidewalk here. You can see the tire marks here down on the sidewalk, rammed into the bollards right there, the barriers that are protecting the park and from access to the park and to the White House. Rammed it a couple of times before they were arrested and charged. Now, they're facing multiple charges right now. This person has not been identified, but they're facing charges of assault with a dangerous weapon, threatening to kill or kidnap a president, destruction of federal property, trespassing, a number of charges. We're expecting to learn more about the suspect later today. One of the things that happened immediately afterwards, of course, is the concern that there could be explosives inside that U-Haul truck. According to the FBI, which did a search of it, no explosives were found. But for a time, the Secret Service evacuated the Hay Adams Hotel, which is across the street. Now, right over there, you see Black Lives Matter Plaza. This is of course, a scene of a lot of protests in the wake of the killing of George Floyd. And looking at what you see in one of the videos there, according to the police who are doing a search of the U-Haul, what you see there is someone holding what appears to be a flag with a swastika on it. There's a backpack. Those are things that apparently were found inside that U-Haul. And so the concern now is to figure out what brought that person here to Washington and, of course, to the scene here. Poppy?
My goodness, it is so striking, Evan, to see that laid out on the ground, the swastika and those threats to the president. Thank you.
So like I said, in and out of the media, instantaneously. Honestly, Democrats, I haven't heard them make a peep about this. I haven't heard much conversation about this at all. The right? Oh, they have their narrative. You know what their narrative is? Fake news. PSYOP. Totally made up. Not real. Planned by the FBI or the CIA or the deep state or both or the cops or somebody. Not real. Can't be real. That's their argument. Now, what's the crux of their argument? Why are they making that point? What are they leaning on to make that point? Well, apparently, the dude who was driving the truck was not white. So you say, oh, can't be a Nazi, can't be a fascist, can't be super far right. They're not even white. Because we've never seen that before, right? We've never seen somebody who's a fascist or a Nazi who's non-white, right? It's not the case that Nazi Germany was allied with Imperial Japan in World War II, where there was a whole bunch of Japanese fascist Nazis running around, right? Can't be the case. It's not the case that just, how long ago was it? Less than a month ago, maybe a few weeks ago, we had another mass shooting / terror attack in Allen, Texas, where you had a non-white Nazi who didn't attack. But it's okay. They have an answer for that too. You want to know what their answer is? Oh, that guy wasn't white either, so that's also a psyop. So it doesn't matter how much evidence you put in front of them of like, yeah, there are people who are super far right, who are fascists, who are Nazi or Nazi aligned of all backgrounds and races. It doesn't matter how much evidence you show them. They go, no, by definition, it cannot be the case. So it must be fake. It must be planned. Look, the other argument that they're using is like, look how pathetic this attempt was of an attack. Now, it was a pathetic attempt, but what's Occam's razor to deal with that fact? Not only are we dealing with somebody with fascist leanings, we're also dealing with somebody who is genuinely mentally unstable and kind of idiotic, right? It can be both. You can be dealing with both things. People like to have the conversation of, look, is it ideologically motivated, which means they're effectively a rational actor, but they have a framework of the world which makes them act in a certain way? Right? Or is this person crazy? Is this person deeply mentally ill and they're acting based off that mental illness? Why can't it be both? Why can't it be both? I'm sure the overwhelming majority of Nazis out there, the fascists, are not exactly mentally stable, are not exactly the smartest people in the world. I really don't think that's a controversial statement. In fact, I would say the opposite of that is way more controversial. Then what? If they're ideologically driven, what are they all, super geniuses? They all have their stuff together. None of them have mental illness. No, in this case, we're probably dealing with somebody who has mental illness. I'd be surprised if there wasn't a history of mental illness, but also they were radicalized online or somewhere, and they effectively started believing in fascist ideology. And it gets to the point where this happens. Now, interesting fact, guys. Where this attack occurred is 1 block away from the place that Crystal and I used to live in Washington, D.C. We had an apartment a block away from the White House in Washington, D.C. And the number of times I was present in this area where this attack happened, can't even count it. Over a dozen times I've been in that area. It's close enough where if we were still in that apartment and we're not, we moved, I would have heard the ramming of the barricade when it was happening if I was there on the day it happened. That's how close it was. So, and by the way, just so everybody understands, it was absolutely a fruitless attempt that was never going to work, because not only is there a barricade right there that they're driving into and trying to get through, there's also, once you drive through the park, you run up against another giant gate. So it wasn't like it was close to working, which again leads me to the conclusion this is much more likely somebody who's not only a Nazi, but also mentally ill because they couldn't put 2 and 2 together and find out even the most common sense way to try to get into the White House. There are areas where it's a gate and it's guarded, but it's just a gate and you could probably get through there, but they try to get in this very, dumb way, to say the least, one that had 0% chance of working. So look, you don't need to fake far-right terror attacks when we have so many far-right terror attacks. You don't need to fake it. You don't need to do it. And it's ironic that they make the argument, oh, this must be planned by the deep state and by the cops or whatever. When you saw what happened on January 6th, in so many instances, they were opening the gates for the Stop the Steal protesters and rioters. Many of the cops were sympathetic to the cause. Now, look, that's January 6th is a little different. Those people were not out and out Nazis, right? They were more just hardcore Trump supporters with probably a variety of different flavors of ideology, some more to the right, some not as much, right? But there were sympathies there. So why would they take their time to try to, make the far right look bad when there are many people sympathetic to the far right in these agencies? And also, like I said, there's a track record of so many of these attacks anyway, they wouldn't need to fake it. And if they were going to fake it, then why is it barely a blip on the radar and nobody's even talking about it, right? And it's not like they're then going to use this to turn around and roll out some new draconian Orwellian, restriction on civil liberties, because nobody's done that, right? Nobody's done that. Nobody's even talking about it. So they're not trying to do anything as a result of this. So it just strikes me, look, Occam's razor is crazy person who's also a Nazi didn't attack. In the same way that the Allen, Texas thing, it's a crazy person who's also a Nazi who didn't attack. It's not that hard to believe in this era of desperation and radicalization and, alienation and depression and all these different things. Of course, you're going to have some instances like this. And when they pop up, they're super ugly. But the right is refusing to grapple with that and deflect. Nope. No true Scotsman. That's what they hit you with. Can't be on our team because they're bad, and bad people are not our team. Deep state psyop plot. It's not. It would be mighty convenient for you if it was, but it's definitely not. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.